Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me. Today's layout is for the Hip Kit Club, and this is another layout using the 2016 February kits. And I'm going to be scrapping these cute pictures of my husband and our youngest daughter from a few years ago. And I'm going to be starting with a sheet of the craft cardstock and some die cuts that I've already cut. These are from Ashley Horton's cut file, free cut file for the month, and I don't wind up using all of them, but it actually comes as one big 12 by 12 cutout, and I just separated some of them and cut them on different pattern papers. Now, the majority of my layout is going to be inspired by this month's mood board, and of course I forgot to throw that photo in here at the beginning of this video, but I am going to include it at the end in case you have not seen the mood board. But over on the left side of the mood board, there is a small picture of a grid of different color rectangles, and so that kind of jumped out at me, and I wanted to recreate that. And so I'm just using one of my square punches, and I'm punching a bunch of squares from different pattern papers. And that's going to be sort of my background, I guess you could say. And I'm not quite sure what size punch this is. 2.5 inch, maybe 2 inch. But you know, any size square punch would do. And I'm just using some scraps and some papers that I've already cut from. I couldn't find my scissors. There they are. Okay. So I'm just going to cut each of these squares in half and sort of create some strips with the different colors and patterns. And the mood board is really pretty this month. It's full of different colors, shapes. I know there's some chevrons on it. There's some buttons. There's a speech bubble. There's some watercolor words, hand script, lots of pretty things on there. It's very inspiring. And I wanted to combine the mood board with one of the cut files, and so that's what I'm going to do here today. And so this is just kind of paper piecing. I'm just trying to leave the center part open because that's where my pictures are going to go. And try not to get, you know, colors or patterns touching or close to each other. And this layout's going to be, it winds up being, I guess you could say, soft in color schemes versus super bright. My pictures are kind of on what I would call the light side. They're not super dark or dramatic, and I wanted to keep them in color because I knew that my background was going to sort of flow with that light and airy color scheme, if that makes any sense. And there is going to be some black elements in this. As you can see in some of my papers, I've got black polka dots, and I am going to wind up using some of the thickers and a couple other little elements that are going to add pops of black. So there is going to be that dark element on the layout. So I'm going to spend some time and stick all of these down, and I do wind up changing out some of them for a different pattern paper. And yeah, it's that pink paisley paper with the gray flowers and leaves. So I've got everything glued down, and that's where my pictures are going to go. And I do want to add some paint, and so I'm going to go over a lot of this with some white gesso and an old gift card. And this is just going to sort of fade out some of the patterns and colors and make them look kind of lighter than they already are. And it's going to make the paint that I add flow a lot nicer and easier, and it's not going to make it, it's going to prevent it from seeping into the papers and tearing it. I don't want to completely white it out. I still want the patterns and the colors to show, and you're still able to see them once I'm finished. So it just kind of made it more of a pastel looking color scheme. And I'm going to be adding some elements to the top there, so I've got some white gesso kind of smudged around up there as well. And I'm just going to add some vellum here, and the vellum is always included in the cardstock kits each month, so make sure you check that out if you get the cardstock kit. And I just folded a couple pieces over and stapled it together, and I'm going to use it as a little layering piece behind the pictures. Now, this is one of the shimmers that I have from my stash, and it's a very pretty coral-ish color. I've already put it back in my container, and I've already forgotten the name of it. I think it's Trippin' in the Tropics. I could be wrong. I will double check and let you know if that's not the right one. But I'm just using my water brush here and squirting a little bit of water into there. This is a Creamies. And I'm just adding a little bit of smudges of that coral color because that one of the pink paisley papers is that really pretty rich coral color. And so this kind of brings out that color from that paper. It doesn't take a lot of the paint, and you just squirt a little bit of water from the brush. I'm just kind of letting it drip and run. And it just adds a little messy element to everything here. And those water brushes are really easy to clean. You just kind of squirt it onto a paper towel and you wipe the bristles off and you're ready to go. Now this is the Creamies that comes in our kits this month. This is the Ride the Tide blue, and it's a really pretty light blue. And I'm just going to do the same thing here to the right and left of the picture. It's going to pull out the color that's in the shirt. Even though when I edited these two photos, the shirt looks two different colors, but didn't really bother me that much because, you know, I've got a couple different shades of aqua and teal and light blue going on, so it really wasn't that big of a deal to me. This is another Shimmers product, and this is from my stash. I use this on so many of my layouts. It's a colorings, and it's called See You in the Morning. And it's just a flat color. There's no shimmer in this, but it makes the perfect teal color or aqua. And I use that color all the time. And I'm just kind of splattering it on and then using my water brush to smudge it around a little bit more. And if you're new to watercoloring or you want to try this technique, a water brush is a great way to go because you can control the water flow. Alright, so I'm going to use a couple of the Project Life cards as layers and that cute little pink paisley frame on the right picture. And then I'm going to use just one of the cut files that I have cut. And I'm definitely going to save the other ones for another project because they are really, really cute. But, you know, I had a different idea for a design in mind when I started, and then this just sort of happened. And, you know, the idea that you start with is not always the idea that you end up with, and that's okay. I am going to try to play around with some of the pink paisley ephemera, and I'm not quite sure at this point what's going to go where. I do go ahead and add some aqua thread underneath the pictures and the layers. And I try to make that hello piece work, but I wind up not using it. It just didn't quite go everywhere I tried it. It didn't really work. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the pictures and the thread down because I know that that's where that's going to go. And I've pulled in a couple more of those speech bubble die cuts, but I just could not make 3 of them work without it looking too busy at the top. I'm definitely going to use one of these. These have to be the most gorgeous embellishment I think I've ever used. These crepe paper fringe hearts. Oh my goodness. They are gorgeous. And I just watched a process video the other day by Ashley Laura who showed how to make these on your own with your own stash. And I was in awe watching her make these because hers looked exactly like these, and it really inspired me to want to make some of these my own. So I'm definitely going to have to get a heart punch because yeah, these are just so pretty. I'm going to just kind of stick it right there because that's just where I wanted it to go. And now I'm going to play with the top of the layout, and I'm going to go through that Amy Tan sticker pack and do a little cluster up here at the top with these little speech bubbles. I just love all of these kits. It's so hard, and I know you guys probably go through this too. It's just so hard to pick and choose what to use on every layout because everything is just so pretty, and I just want to use all of it, but of course you can't use all of it on one page. I just, look at a sticker sheet and I'll say, gosh, I want to use that. I want to use that. I did some stitching and I fussy cut out that little charcoal gray and white flower cluster from that pink paisley pattern paper, and I layered it underneath that green speech bubble and stitched through everything with gray thread. And I stitched through all those paper strips too, the rectangles. Yeah, I did that actually before I started layering it down. I think I forgot to mention when I did that. And I'm going to use that thicker down at the bottom that says hugs. I originally wanted to use it at the top, but it just didn't look right. And so it's going to go under that heart. And now I'm just going to play around with this little cluster up here. I'm going to add in that little black thicker heart and then one of these clear crepe paper stickers. And then some of these gray October afternoon alphas. And the more I use the gray thread and, the charcoal gray flower paper, I don't know, I just tried to go with a silver gray theme instead of gold. I don't know, this just seemed like a grayish type layout. Like on that pink paisley acrylic stickers, there's so many cute gold ones, but I just wound up using one of the silver hearts as an embellishment. Now these are the Studio Calico wood veneer, and I'm just using again some of my inklings and creamies from my stash and my water brush to just color them up that really pretty coral color. And this is super easy. I didn't put any gesso or anything down on top of those hearts. I just added a couple layers of color so they looked really pretty. And one of those paints is slightly darker than the other, and so I was able to get, kind of a two-tone effect since I used both colors. And I'm just going to stick a couple here and there around the page, and it's going to give it extra pop of that coral pink color. And I didn't want to add too much to the sides of the picture. I didn't want to cover up the paint that I did earlier, and I didn't want to overload all of those rectangles because that background in itself has got a lot going on, and so I just wanted little things here and there without covering a lot of it up and without making it too overwhelming. I am going to add a little bit of these Simple Stories enamel dots. And I love how that top cluster turned out. That just sort of happened. I didn't even really plan that. I wasn't sure what I was going to do to the top in the beginning, but I love how that came together. And I love how all, there's the yellow, the green, the pink, the black, the gray, all the colors are represented that are in all those strips. So the last thing I'm going to do is add my black color splatter here and add a little bit of journaling, and I am going to add a date stamp at the end. And I believe that's it. Yep, there's the final layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you liked it. It was really fun to put together. And like I said, check out the mood board. It's going to come up here at the end after all of the close-ups. So let me know if you have any questions about any of these products or anything about the hip kits or any of the techniques that I did. It was really fun to make. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.